Of course she did. Of course she did. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 70 of Truth Will Set You Free. We got the crew here. We got Casey, we got Easy, and we've got the GOAT, Suni herself. We've got some really good topics today. There is a bullied high school student that is out on a $75,000 bail after trying to kill people. Gavin Newsom, now that he decided to get notice I said he decided and he didn't get vote, whatever. He is in power still in California, signing a ridiculous amount of new laws and putting them in place, and apparently stealthing, although probably very frowned upon by any decent human being. They've signed it into a law. It's a condom law. You can't take a condom off without the other person knowing during sex. Does that go for women too? I don't know. Can they just slip it up? What if? I don't know. There's a lot of gray area in this one. Southwest employees, real sneaky. We're stealthing. I didn't even know that that's a great term for assholes, but I didn't know it could be a law. We're going to talk about that. We've got Columbus Day debate. Are we going to, will Truth Will Set You Free and Be the Change go woke on this topic? We'll find out. American Airlines and Southwest Airlines have rejected Governor Abbott's deal with the whole mandate, and somehow Southwest Airlines is still not being honest on why there is canceled flights all over the country. We'll talk a little bit about Chappelle and maybe some other stuff that goes along with it. Ultimately, guys, the world is garbage. Can we all agree on this right now?
I mean, that's not fair.
Each week, each day. Day something goes worse.
This is a clown world we live in. I don't care what anybody says. Clown world, man.
I feel like, you know what I feel like happened? I feel like the powers that be literally decided to take a condom while they were banging us and they pulled it off. Yeah. I think so. They did. I think they stealthed us. What's going on, everybody? It's time for episode number 70 of Truth Will Set You Free. We're going to ask you right now, do us a huge favor. Hit the reaction button, thumbs up, hearts, laughy faces. Get angry if you want. I really don't care. You can do the angry face. If you are on YouTube, swipe the comments off to the side and hit the like button. But please, please, please share this episode. Let's get people watching and get a conversation started. We love to see the comments. We even love to see the comments of those that oppose us. So I love the comments already coming in. This is great. So, ladies and gents, it's time to start. Truth Will Set You Free. You guys know the cast of characters, but you can go ahead and introduce yourself if people are new. Easy. What's going on, buddy?
You're muted, sir.
I love that Suni had to be the one to tell him.
Right? I mean, I wasn't on mute. I was muted by the host.
That wasn't me. I didn't do it.
Well, everybody's a host here, so you can't really assign.
I wanted to blame somebody besides himself. Victim mentality, okay?
You freaking liberal.
We started out the show with a Democrat. All right.
Go back to California.
Right? No, so today, in order to just show how much of a non-Californian I am, I went out and did a little Second Amendment, health, mental well-being type stuff. So it's a great day. Got my mom out, got her on the range. She has decided that she is now going to practice her constitutional rights, which I'm very excited for. So we went out and did a little testing for her to help find a proper and effective weapon for herself. So we enjoyed doing that. We were able to go do that at one of the local gun shops here. Just a great day slinging some lead downrange. Just enjoyed it. Really had a great time.
Did you let her know when the gun was covered up, or did you? I mean, because again, is stealthing a thing with the Second Amendment as well? Like if you take the silencer off,
my mom, I feel like stealthing is just something I can't do. So, we did absolutely make sure, there was consent in everything we did there.
Speaking of lack of consent, if people are wondering where Kevin is, just kidding. He just got done with his LSAT. So
super weird sidetrack there, Russo. But we'll try to run.
Super weird sidetrack. Speaking of stealthing, no, I don't know if Kevin. I know he just commented. I don't know if he will be here. I don't know if he'll be there, but yeah, he might jump on. He just finished his LSAT, so he's trying to become something, which we're just good being a Tuesday night show.
We all get in a hell of a lot of trouble. He might just be the Batman who comes to save us.
Right? Casey, introduce yourself, my friend, everybody's favorite libertarian.
Oh, man. You don't want me to introduce myself.
Is that what they're calling you these days?
I am just here to poke fun at Columbus Day between Sunni and Russo.
Oh, gosh.
And then we're going to talk about bullying. That's all I'm here for.
Oh, gosh.
Or the lack thereof bullying. Sunni, what's cracking?
What's happening, man? I'm just the GOAT. That's it. I call out everybody. People are getting their feels over it. But I don't give a fuck. I don't care. It's fine.
I gotta look at the definition of the GOAT. I didn't realize that greatest of all time meant you just talk shit about everybody. But you know what? If you're gonna reinvent the term, be the greatest at it.
You know why I'm the GOAT at this? Because I'm not afraid. Most people are scared to get on here and say their actual thoughts, and I just don't care. So you know what? Because I've mimicked all the people before me, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Booker T. Washington. We can even throw some Sojourner Truth in there. Harriet Tubman. No, sorry. You're too white. That makes me the GOAT. That's why. Period.
Okay. I'll take it. Well, we're about to get somebody, Shelly. I like when I don't think we're frozen, but if we are, that would be news to me. I think everybody can see us just fine. So real quick, okay, it's not my birthday.
Yeah,
I have to be.
Why are you saying happy birthday?
So it's not my birthday. So it was a month ago. Anthony, there. So here's the thing about surnames, all that stuff. So Anthony is a follower of ours. I know Anthony very well. His last name is Mascaret. I'm Russo. But happy birthday to. I love that everybody is wishing happy birthday to Anthony, and I hope he has a great birthday. Love you, brother. But it is not my birthday, to be fair.
Hey, look at that comment, bro.
So he's the Tom Brady of geez. I think Joseph Brown is trying to slide into your DMs.
It's getting a little claustrophobic. Can we get rid of one person out of this picture?
Why, my ego's too big? Can you not handle my ego? Like,
well, I can't say it's because you're black, but just say.
Let's just do this. Anyways. Let's have the screen size based on egos.
There we go. You made it better.
All right, there you go.
The most important person here gets the big screen. Let's go.
This feels extremely equitable.
It does be very. It screams equity. I just realized as we're going to talk more about stealthing, I love that Sunni has in the background a Life magazine with a plastic wrapper on it. So I wonder if midway through the show, is it bad if one of us removes the plastic wrapper without her knowing?
You know what?
I don't know.
This is a first of all, this is an antique. This is the actual original version of this.
Is that defensible in court, though?
It is, man. Listen,
okay.
It's an antique. All right. It deserves to be wrapped in plastic. And I'm not going to ask for consent to take it off because that bitch is staying on. That's what all men should do. Look, listen, get an NDA.
The dating advice has got to come out real quick.
It does. And I put this up there when I came back. You better have her sign an NDA and she better sign a consent form. And you better put it somewhere, a secret camera, or you make sure you got a microphone in the bed just in case she says take it off.
Hold on. We'll get into the condom stuff in a second. All right, because I think we're on the same page on this one, but whatever. So real quick, some announcements. Obviously, if you'd like to support, patreon.com / BetheChange USA. On that, we just try to do as many updates as possible. We talk a little bit about cash. If you have questions about cash, that's the best place to do it. Also, a lot. We obviously talk a lot about the V word. We talk about COVID. We talk about different things and how we can actually make a difference. We've had a great group start. I'm putting it in the comment box right now. And Kevin, I do see you backstage. right here, click on it. I know you don't want to put that in there, but just click on it because I don't have the bit.ly. So easy as that. You're going to join that. That is our weight loss group. That is the group that says, what is the biggest, I know I saw that. That was funny. What is the biggest comorbidity with COVID that for some odd reason, anybody with a brain on television decides to ignore is obesity. So let's be accountable for each other. Let's show some results. We've already seen in a couple weeks some great stories of people getting their health. I've been drinking an insane amount of water. All of us have. Suni's already skinny. She's an asshole. So, all right. But again, it's not
about Fireball.
Yep. It's not just about that. It's literally about let's reclaim our health. Let's do what we can to do what the government should have been preaching from the get-go, which is starting to take care of your bodies and health. So again, click on that in there. As always, if you'd like to check out our gear, super easy to find. Let's see. Easy, do you want to put that in the comment box and just add wake up 20% off if you can? Wake up is the code once you go to the store. Again, that's 20% off. You could also go to hashtag, and actually I would also prefer this in a way too. Go to hashtag BetheChange.com, spell out hashtag, because in the near future, we don't know where our platforms will be taken, as we can tell that the whistleblower was absolutely full of shit, and they are using that to clamp down on Zuck. And for once, by the way, I feel like Zuck is actually taken aback by this. I feel like he's like, how the hell did this happen? I've done everything that they've asked, and now they're doing this even more to completely crush any version of free speech on the platform. So anyways, go ahead and get gear right there. We got Awake. We got on Veed Lives Matter. We've got Hold the Line that Casey loves. That's his favorite shirt. It's not just a Q terminology, Casey.
Where's the equity in this group?
Oh, we have some. Hey, we have Suni's line of T-shirts as well. We've got Fight Against Tyranny. We have got Make America Think Again.
Where's the? I'm not gonna put you on blast right now. Let's roll with the show.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Go to the site. You will see Suni has a bunch of shirts on the site. Anyways. All right. So we're gonna bring.
You're muted, sir. Yeah. Specific. Listen, I'm under the white man.
Oh, she's nitpicking. Okay.
I believe as though Chappelle says that's punching down on. That's
right.
Kevin, ladies and gentlemen, is with us. What's going on, Kevin?
What up? What up?
Oh, look at that hat, looking good. Way better on you than it does on me. How did the LSATs go?
Yeah. So that was a nightmare. Totally a nightmare. What's crazy about it is that first, gosh, I got woken up so freaking early this morning by some stupid shit. So I was beyond exhausted going into it, and it freaking killed me, man. So I'll be taking it again eventually.
Oh man, nothing like confidence. All right.
I was feeling good yesterday, man.
Let's get into the first topic: Columbus Day or Indigenous People Day. What is, Suni? I'm going to start with you on this one. Suni, what do you think? What do you think about Columbus Day?
I don't think about Columbus Day. That's really what it is. Look, the only people indigenous to American land are Americans. Just to sum it up, I think Columbus Day is a waste of time. I think Happy Indigenous People Day is a waste of time. Like, it's no different than people putting Black people on a pedestal and like, look, here's our history. You guys need to pay us attention. And now Native people are like, I'm sorry, Indigenous people, because saying Native now is a derogatory term. Never knew that, but gotcha. Look, do you know what people are saying in my comment section? We've been overlooked for years now. Why can't we talk about Indigenous people? Who is indigenous to this land? Show me. Oh, well, Native people were here first. Prove it. And then you got crickets in the comment section. So I feel like it's all ridiculous. I think it's divisive, and I think people need to stop. You're bowing to the woke mob, bro. If you walk around saying Happy Indigenous People Day, you just bowed and kissed the ring of the leftists, the people that you claim to hate so much. Just saying, bro.
So here's what I thought, and honestly, I like the comment section on yours because I said at this point I don't mind taking an L because I think it's the most pointless holiday on the planet. Now I don't think I'd go around saying Happy Indigenous People Day. I also don't think it has a very good ring to it. Just think about if since Biden signed it in, how many times he had to say it. Happy Indigenous. It's the holiday for the people.
What does Happy Flag Day give you then?
Right. Well, so that's my point. It's a point. It's like if you want to put it on the calendar as some stupid date, go for it. I don't care. I don't think it should be either. I think Columbus, the fact that we still celebrate a guy as an Italian that really did nothing for America. He found the Bahamas, and there's a country that was inhabited by Native American or what indigenous, whatever the fuck we're supposed to say. It's inhabited by them, and it was inhabited by the Nordics well before. You've got there's other ethnicities that came from all different places, and this guy literally found nowhere near America, and he also killed everybody that he could possibly find. I just don't see the purpose of Columbus Day. I think this is one of those ones that we can just go erase and be done with it. Like, make people happy. Indigenous Day, I think it's weird. I think it's silly.
Well, first and foremost, that's a very white apologist stance to take about Christopher Columbus. That directly reflects the CRT story of Christopher Columbus. It does not take into account any of the actual historical significance of what he did was. So the first part, when Leif Erikson or whoever decided to come to America, they were barely here and they took off. They did nothing to actually stay around. They did nothing to actually maintain any form of colony. When Christopher Columbus came over here, it was an incredibly dangerous journey. Most people on these journeys died along the way. He was actually able to work very well with the tribes that he met when he was there, and was actually able to begin figuring out what the newest region of the entire freaking world was. There is something to be said for the fact that they literally did not know this entire part of the world existed. This part of the world that was incredibly abundant and rich with resources, to the point where it is now the most valuable territory on planet Earth. It was a dangerous journey. It took a lot of convincing to get it going. There is his interactions with the natives were actually much different than the way they are currently characterized by the Robin DiAngelos of the world. He has. While I do not think he should be celebrated as a national holiday, I do not also appreciate the mischaracterization of what Christopher Columbus did, because that
Kevin, can I ask you one question though? I'm going to ask you one question, and you might be right. And here's the other thing: I also might be right.
Yeah,
we don't know who's right. So how do you know that he had? How do you know that Christopher Columbus, in a time and an era where that's not common, where it's like white man sees Native American, like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. How are you so confident that he had great dealings with the native tribes when he got here?
It's written in his journals. He talks about it. It's described by people who were not only there with him upon initial discovery, but stayed in order to maintain relations with the tribes after he left to go back to bring more stuff over. And so, yeah.
Sunni.
He didn't do shit for America. He's not a part of American culture. So fuck Christopher. Period. I mean,
fair
He's
enough.
Dead as fuck, bro. Why we celebrating this nigga? He ain't do nothing for America.
Fair enough on that one. But
look, we celebrate Martin Luther King because Martin Luther King created progress in America. We celebrate these certain people because they created progress. Christopher Columbus did nothing for America. So Americans don't owe him a mother trucking thing.
You're both right.
So do you say the same thing like about Jimmy Carter or some of the other presidents that haven't done anything on President's Day?
I don't celebrate those presidents. I don't even celebrate presidents. You know what I say? F these presidents, because none of them give a shit about us.
That's right. There's only been one good president.
I don't think that was going to be
Coolidge.
All right. So, Kevin, I appreciate it. I appreciate that. And I think there is something to be said about individual journals that have also been transcribed. It's kind of like, ultimately, my thought process is this. You could take away the history of maybe he did not commit mass genocide. You could say he did have decent dealings. You could say all these different things. But at the same time, He didn't find America.
No,
so
he
this is my big issue. So I don't know. I think that it's time where, again, if we're like, sometimes you got to give a little to get a little. I think us as conservatives can be or can be okay with. Let's just skip this holiday.
The problem, the issue I was addressing, was the fact that the way you presented it was the same way CRT presents it. It is entirely strictly critical and does not actually add in the nuance of, hey, there was bad things that occurred, and also there was good things and courageous things that occurred, and there was very non-heroic things that occurred. But you have to be intellectually and historically honest, because otherwise stuff like the 1619 Project also begins working, because that's how they did that. So that was my major grievance.
I think that's valid. I'm actually going to do some more. I'll do some more. I want to look more at the journals. So did he end up committing mass genocide after?
Disease was what killed 90%.
Oh, he gave them COVID. Got it.
Yeah, well, the native people hadn't domesticated animals the way Europeans did, so thus didn't have immune systems.
Yeah.
Could have been COVID. So is there such thing as COVID blankets? Can I get them?
They had comorbidities that they gave them.
I'm just wondering, because I would like one. Okay. Where can I get them?
Hey, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I think it's so easy. Do you agree? It's just whether we feel one way or another about Columbus Day, we could ditch the stupid holiday.
I think we have to stop giving holidays to things that are, to say the least, they are arbitrary in our history, right? I think that I think that Columbus Day has been celebrated historically because people look at that as a time when colonies were being set up. It was the history around it is it's the prelude to what became the Americas. So I see there's value there in at least understanding it from a historical perspective, but I'm kind of getting sick of these. Let's celebrate anything for any reason. Like Christopher Columbus's contribution to history, when put in context, is relatively. It's not all that humongous. It's important. There is something there to be said about it, but it is not something that I think that requires us to shut down banks, classrooms,
bingo,
create a frenzied story of how the Americas came to be. He is he's one person of a tremendous field of people that were working hard to establish colonies in this country. And I think it is ethically dishonest to speak about Christopher Columbus the way that we do in a educational standpoint.
Hey, look. Go ahead, Russo.
How about we make a trade? Make a trade. We get rid of Columbus Day because for the holiday perspective of, off of federal stuff, schools, etc., and create a national voting day. Like that would make everyone happy.
Yes.
Or we can just make, national holidays around the country. Just make it Happy 420 Day. You'll have a ton of happy people around the world. Look. If more people would just hit the blunt one time, bro, you would completely remove the stick from your ass. I'm telling you. Good Lord.
I love where Eric's going, but let me point out some things that America's not doing that other countries do. Sunni should already know this. How many holidays does Japan have?
Many.
A lot.
Yeah, they average all cultural. They don't celebrate insignificant things to Japan.
Tell me, and that's what I'm getting to. Is they average over one holiday per month over a year. And when their prime minister gets replaced, they take a whole week off. Mm-hmm. And so they get a whole extra week off in Japan. The reason why I'm bringing this up, the thing that I always laughed when I worked with that region at my work, they have a mountain day. I want mountain day in Japan. I'll go in the mountains. I'll take the day off from work and go in the mountains. Deal. Yeah, is that what it's about? Let's do it. Let's replace Columbus Day with Mountain Day.
No, How about we replace both of them with let's just name it after the major theme of both: Foreign Invader Day or Foreign Conqueror Day. Come on, let's.
Wait. You're buying into CRT because then they're gonna be like, oh, you want to celebrate colonizers? Really?
I want to point out that literally every civilization that exists now is the result of conquering or being conquered. So that is literally
fine,
everything.
so be it. We will all agree open border day.
All right, so here's Columbus Day, and we're scratching it off today's to-do list and national holidays. Too bad we don't have any poll, and Joe Biden is trying to create.
Native Americans. Hey, look, indigenous people. If you were born in America, you're indigenous. If you was running around doing with your leaves and your feathers all over, I don't really care, bro. Look, my grandmother is Native American. She's Cherokee, and I still don't feel the need to celebrate it. I don't.
That would explain the fireball.
Look, I'm just saying. Wow.
Too soon?
I'm just saying Judaism's got it right. They have like 50 holidays throughout the year, man. That's the way to do it.
True.
So it sounds like you and Elizabeth Warren got a little more in common than you've been leading on to here.
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas.
No, she's Tocahontas.
Pocahontas over here.
All right,
I have the
let's do
high
this.
cheekbones to prove it. She ain't got nothing but her white ass skin. I'm just saying.
All right, let's talk about the Timothy Simpkins, bullied high school student.
Ooh.
Sorry,
Let's go, man.
Bullied high school student.
It's a hard transition right there.
This happened about, I think about 10 miles from where I live. It's in Arlington. And he was the fight. We've all seen, I think a lot of you guys have seen the video of him getting the crap beaten out of him in his classroom, which I think, was that leading up to right before he pulled the gun, or was that the day before? Do we know?
It was before he did it. It was right before.
Right before. Okay, so he got his ass beat. He pulled out a gun and started shooting people. I think did he at least hit the person that fought him?
Mm-hmm. And he hit 3 other people.
And he hit 3 other people. And he was out the next day or less than 48 hours later from a $75,000 bail, which I still can't get a 100% confirmation who paid this bail. But they said his family, which again, possible. Yeah. So 75.
Remember, bail's only 10%.
Right, so he had to pay $7,500.
Right.
So still $7,500, but whatever. Supposedly, he also sold drugs. Maybe he had it himself. Again, allegedly. So, all right, let's start with, I know, Casey, you might have an opposing viewpoint on this because I know you talked about the bullying thing being an issue. What is your opinion on the $75,000 bail and him getting allowed to be out within 2 days, partying with his family while people are in jail that he shot, including the innocent ones? What are your thought process?
So I don't like that part. I don't agree with the bail part. I don't agree that he should just be allowed to roam free until we actually have a thorough investigation and understand what happened. I don't think we have enough information yet. And the reason why I say this is, which you and I had a conversation a little bit about it, is when he fired that gun, he could have fired that gun at the person that was beating him up, and he was getting his ass beat, literally. And he fired the gun at him, even though it sounds like he had the gun unlawfully, which is another law that should be held against him. But however, self-defense, he was defending himself and shooting at the person. But the part that I question is, how did the other people get harmed? That's going to change my stance significantly. If he ended up moving into the direction of where everybody was in that room and he fired the gun, you are now in the realm of manslaughter for anyone you fired the gun against, because you put everybody else in danger. Because if you fire a gun at a human flesh, it's going through you. It's not going to stop with that human. It's going to go through you and hit others. And so I wonder all of these things, and I see everybody claiming murder. It's not possible. It's the same thing with George Floyd. You can't say murder. Like, let's use common sense and look at this. Now, if you look at it from an attempted murder for self-defense, you got to look at the laws of owning the gun. Well, possessing the gun. My bigger problem I have with this circumstance is there are a lot of question marks around the rest of the story outside of him being bullied. Now, let me give you the bully situation, why I disagree with Suni a little bit. I was probably the most bullied kid in my high school. Would anybody go into a chat or a thread and defend me and tell me I wasn't bullied? No, they're going to tell me I wasn't bullied. They would exactly do that. And the reason for that is I hung out with the rival high school. I had all of my friends from the rival high school. I only had a handful of friends in my current high school. And so I don't trust what I'm seeing on social media, which Suni's laughing at. And they're just high school kids. They're going to say whatever they want. But whatever, until there is some other evidence, two people fighting can show a sign of bullying. Can. I'm not saying it is, but it can. So you have to give this innocent until proven guilty situation until you get there. And
I agree.
You can't.
I agree.
Until you get to that point.
I agree with you, but I also think that there's no way it should have been that easy for a kid that shot 4 people. I'm sorry, an adult, an 18-year-old that shot 4 people to get out that quickly. I
agree with that.
We can't jump to conclusions on if he was the bully, if he was being bullied, if he was a drug, all these different things. The facts that everybody knows is 4 people were shot, and in no world, no matter how much somebody is bullied, is it okay to take an illegal firearm and shoot people in response to a fist fight. If that happened, I think it sets such a dangerous precedent. And before we go to Suni, I'm going to ask you, Casey, what happens if people all across the country? I went to a school that had a lot of fights. I went to a suburban school, but again, there was a lot of fights because there were city kids. There was I know of fights from the nearby high schools. I know of fights that are in the city, schools that are in the city that have fights all the damn time. That kind of fight happens all the time. So now, some kid named Steve is going to say, I get my ass beat all the time. This kid was able to get out. Screw this. I'm bringing my gun to school. I think the precedent is the most dangerous thing that is set by allowing him to get out so easily.
No, I don't disagree with you there. Like, that's what I've been saying is I don't disagree with the part of him getting out. I don't like that. I really don't. I think he should be held until we could actually have an investigation done, which is the innocent until proven guilty kind of part comes into play. Now, if you want to go through the whole realm, it gets interesting because technically innocent until proven guilty, you are allowed bail unless that they can prove you guilty instantly. So that's why he would get bail. But I do think that's a fine line or a gray area that probably should be reevaluated in some scenarios.
Is this what they're saying? Are they saying the fight was over after he got his ass beat? He went back to his car and brought it back in.
Did. Listen.
Yeah.
So that's a premeditated act. If he would have killed the person, it's premeditated. Suni, go ahead.
So this is what happened when people don't understand Black culture. Just straight up. I'm just gonna keep it a band.
So it's a race issue. It's not just
culture.
Two white
you
people.
gotta let me finish. I didn't even get the rest of my sentence out. This is what happened when people don't understand Black culture. No, it is not a race thing, but there are certain cultures that are very much so indigenous, since we're going to be using that word, to niggas. Like, let's just keep it real, bro. These two were fighting over a beef. This guy, quote unquote, bullying, is a full-blown drug dealer. That's been proven. That's fact. He robbed the young boy that was whooping his ass. He robbed his brother. He also didn't fight him one-on-one. He sent somebody else to fight the brother. So what did the younger brother do? I'm going to whoop your ass. You robbed my brother? For real? I grew up around this. So when I seen this, I'm like, this ain't bullying. This is literally somebody getting what they deserve. You don't get to go rob somebody, not fight, and then ball up, and everybody gets to take the hop on your side because your family decided to come out and say you were bullied. Screw that.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to Kevin. Sorry, go ahead, Suni. Finish up.
The only reason that people are hopping on this bullying or this bullying narrative is because, number one, the media put it out, and two, his grandmother said it. keep it real, man. We watched 30 seconds of a video and said this kid was bullied. Nobody's paying attention to the fact that there are videos, pictures circulating of his social media where he openly displays his activity. He's taking a picture with money. He's taking a picture with guns in his car. He's taking his picture throwing gang signs up. I grew up around this, man. This is street code. Unfortunately, this is no different than what you see every weekend in Chicago. So why are you looking at it any different now? That's the question I have for people.
Let me answer that.
Kevin,
Let me
go ahead.
answer that. So, what happened? Why are we talking about this story? Because it was a school shooting in Texas. And the media jumped on it immediately. And when the media jumped on it, what did they not know? The race of the shooter. As soon as that came out, they realized the mistake they had made. Because what do they talk about all the time? They always talk about the mass shooter with the AR-15s, the white psychopath, right? That's all they want to talk about. And what do they hate right now? Texas. So what happened was they decided to cover an incident that is literally the most common version of a mass shooting we have. If you want to talk about school shootings, pretty much all school shootings that occur are gang beefs where people get caught in the crossfire. That's most school shootings, but the media can't talk about that. But what they do love to talk about is the white school shootings. And when school shooting in Texas popped up, they were immediately like, yes, we got another one. Let's throw Texas even further under the bus. We got this. You know how I know this? I was on Reddit when it came up, and that's exactly what it was all about. Right? Like you could see in live time, as soon as the race of the shooter came out, it came from how can we blame the white culture for this to how can we make sure the blame doesn't fall on him? However we do to divert any and all blame around him. That is what happened here.
And how many people's hold on, Eric, real quick. How many people's grandmothers really know what's happening in their high school? Let's be pretty clear.
Thank you, bro.
Go ahead, Easy.
So I wanted to jump on this because to me, there, I think Casey's point of, no due process is absolutely spot on. I don't think that you can look at this case and make a fair decision on bail and release in such a short period of time. We don't know enough about what's going on, other than there was an altercation that ultimately led and escalated into a shooting, right? That's essentially what we know. So to say that there was no bullying, I think to Casey's point is a fair statement. Now, to that end, I'm going to go into a very broad spectrum argument here, which is I see what you're all saying, and I'm not sure that I have an opinion specifically about this. What I do know is that this is going to be weaponized against the Second Amendment argument very quickly. And it's going to split off into one of two ways, at least in my opinion. One is that this is another school shooting, another person who shouldn't have had a gun, who was able to acquire one too easily in a state where guns are easily acquired. Or this may be a segue or a portion of the argument, which is that they're going to pour on the gasoline on the fire and say, and on top of that, we can't prosecute these people because we're letting them out on bail in such a quick turnaround time. So the argument, regardless of whether you're bullying or no bullying, whether it's gang member or no gang member, cultural or no culture, I want to be clear. My opinion about this is that they're going to utilize this as a tremendously strong argument to attack the Second Amendment, because there isn't any bottoming out on any specific understanding of the issue. So instead of being able to decipher and give specifics about the issue, they're only going to run with it in whichever direction the audience will go as far as gun control measures. So we have a freaked out public, we have a concerned legislature, we have concerned Congress and Senate. My only concern here, more than the action of this student and their ability to get to this point, is the arguments that are going to come from it for control of guns. So I don't I can't say that I have enough definitive information to draw a conclusion about
I think they're going to
handle
look
other than to
easy.
say,
Okay.
I know where this is
If
coming
that's the
from
case,
an argument.
then-
standpoint.
I think it's a moot point because once it's realized that it's an illegally acquired firearm, I think that ends up that whole argument. There's just
Thank you.
No.
Bro. Like,
No,
But
you're removing
remember,
someone's
they
right
let
to
him out of jail.
process.
Yeah, so
I
they
agree
let him
with-
out of jail. So they're going to hang their hat on due process and not having
How many-
having had that.
No, but it's a very simple registration process. It's an illegally owned firearm.
That doesn't exist.
What do you mean? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
According to our Constitution, that doesn't exist.
that doesn't.
Correct.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
But according to laws, it does. And laws are not mandates. Laws are laws. So technically that makes it a different instance. That brings up the case of taking everybody's guns. And again, I don't think that's the step that we're on right now.
The issue that is going to be focused on is, did he go back to his car or not to get the gun? Because if he did that, that's murder. But if he didn't do that, then there's something to be said for really, really horrible like gun awareness and everything like that. And the fact that you shouldn't be bringing a gun to a fist fight.
Maybe I didn't articulate.
I got expelled in middle school because I brought a knife to school because one of the people that was associated with the gang told me that he was going to jump me as a part of my initiation. So I brought a knife to school in the 7th grade and I got expelled for it because he met me in the bathroom and I pulled a knife on him when he said he was going to attack me. So here's the thing is, I don't know for sure that this kid actually wasn't acting in some form of self-defense. If the person he shot or was shooting at was a member of a gang or something like this. Now this kid, he can be throwing up gang signs and still act in self-defense by pulling a gun because you have the right to eliminate the threat to you.
nah, bro.
If it's like that.
Suni, go ahead. I want to paint a picture We'll go back to Eric after that, but go ahead, Suni.
When the this is what I don't like, and this is why I think people are being extremely hypocritical. When the family of this victim is speaking out and they're being honest about what it was, a beef,
Yeah.
family, friends, kids in school, so we're gonna throw all that shit out for a 30-second video. This nigga was not bullied, bro. I seen this all the time in school. He was not bullied.
Let me paint the picture because I do think we need to figure. I think it's part of the future case against this kid about the bullying. I noticed I don't think any of the other students have been arrested as somebody that whatever assaulted, etc. I think that's something to be said. I don't think it's bullying, but I don't know, and I can't say that for a fact. What I can say is what we do know. This kid went and got a gun, whether it was from his locker or whether it was from his car. He went and got it. He didn't have it in his pocket. After getting beat up, he went and he shot people. He shot 4 people. One of those was his intended target. 3 innocent people. He then escaped from the school. He ran. He was a fugitive on the run. This is somebody that evaded police. And then when you look at his past, his social media, he is somebody that has a music video. This is something that a judge, when he sets bail, has to look at. You have to look at this. And he's looking at somebody that has a background with drugs, gang signs, guns, and ties, and reports that he has been tied to it. And he's literally somebody that shot people and ran, caused it to be on national news for 24 hours. And this is somebody that they let out with a $7,500 or $75,000 bail, which again is $7,500. This should have been way more. This should be somebody held. Again, we're not saying he's guilty, but this is somebody that should not be able to get out into the public right now to spend a birthday with his families. And to also, if he wants to finish this fight, he is out. He can finish this fight right now in a very dangerous way. I think it's a horrible precedent. And whether it's bullying or not, I have to be very clear. We're leaving out all the different elements, which is huge. That he literally escaped from school. He was a fugitive on the run, and he's an adult, unlike a 17-year-old that we all know from Wisconsin with the name of Kyle.
So again, I let me articulate my premise and say,
Okay.
I'm not, like I said, I think that due process is necessary, and I think what Casey's point earlier is that we can't assume he's guilty based on every factor that we want to look at this with. bail may have been like, I'm not going to sit here and argue that bail was set at the right amount. I don't know. I don't know enough about the case specifically to make that kind of a judgment on it. But what I am aware of is that this is a golden calf, if you will, to the Second Amendment argument, which is that it's loaded with problems in that this person was not, they were not stopped. They were allowed to go to a vehicle. They were now they've been released on bail. If you were looking for a Second Amendment argument to be made, that then if they just in case have to shift the reason behind the desire for control, there's about 7 different arguments that can be made for control of guns, and nothing that's really being made for the uncertain actions that led ultimately to a shooting at the school. So I'm simply articulating that the gun right the gun activists that are going to go out there and to try and take away your Second Amendment opportunities are going to have a field day with this, because whether or not this person had any self-defense element that was baked into this case, I don't know. I can't say, but I can tell you that $7,500 on a $75,000 bail may not be correct. I'm not the judge. I can't say specifically, but I do have concerns, because once you start dissecting how this person was able to get back to a vehicle, how they were able to pull a weapon out, come in and do more and additional harm, that the fact that there's elements of drug crimes potentially, like, this is a field day for people who are looking for an excuse to come at the gun argument, in my opinion, simply because the courts may not have acted correctly, the school didn't act correctly, adults in positions of opportunity seemingly missed some marks. I'm not super up to date on the case and what transpired exactly, but I can tell you from a process and handling standpoint that the media and anybody else who wants to spin this into a gun control argument has a lot of ammo.
Let me clarify this statement real quick, because Nikki brought up an interesting point. Texas is not that way. So in the state of Texas, each court has its own bond schedule. The schedule sets recommended amounts for bail for each type of criminal offense, but judges have the discretion to set bail higher or lower than the amount on the schedule based on circumstances. Factors that can raise the amount of bail include severity of the alleged crime, any priors, restraining orders against the defendant. Defendant was on probation at the time of the arrest. Defendant is a flight risk, or the defendant is a risk to someone else's safety. I think that's a clear thing. So Indiana may be different, Suni, but in the state of Texas, it was the judge's discretion.
Right. Well, and the important part that I'm trying to emphasize here is, you take away someone's rights, you are taking away your rights. Mm-hmm. If you take away or limit on what they should, if he is not allowed bail, then you could possibly not be allowed bail.
Yeah.
And so you have to be careful of what you call for when it comes to certain things. And that's what I'm looking at here is I know we want to use social media as all fact. Sorry, I won't take it.
I literally just outlined all the things that have nothing to do with social media. I outlined the fact that all
of the information we have received about this incident is coming from social media.
No. That's the information on his background. The information on the event is blatant on the news. He shot 4 people, 3 of them innocent, and then fled school grounds.
Anthony, the question becomes: do you think Kyle Rittenhouse?
Kyle, just say Kyle. We'll just say the dude from Wisconsin.
Do you think the dude from Wisconsin was treated unjustly? Or are you asking that they should both have been treated like the dude from Kenosha? Or are you saying that they both should have been treated like the guy from Texas? Because I think that it should be the case that the guy from Kenosha is getting the same treatment. Because at the end of the day, it is a presumption of innocence prior to guilt. And the judge did look at the evidence that was presented before him leading into the bail hearings. So there is something to be said that there must be a respect for the presumption of innocence, because the argument shouldn't be that he should have been punished worse. It should be that the guy up there was punished too much.
I think they're just like everything in life. There's a middle ground, and I know Suni does not like even comparing these two, and I don't think they're comparable. I think they have similar sounds, but I think
I'm just gonna be real. People are comparing race, and I think that shit is whack, bro. Let's just keep it a band, bro. You know why people put these two faces together. They put them together to say, look, this black boy got off easy, and they're holding the gun or kicking this white man's ass. Like, just keep it a band, man. I cannot stand when people lie and try to say, I'm not doing that. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And that's perpetuating the same cycle that the left does instead of just paying attention to facts. I do not disagree at all that people, victims, families cannot come out via social media and tell the truth. The media ain't going to put that on TV. We know that. There's already been a narrative set for this case. So why would the media then start telling the truth? They don't tell the truth when black men get killed by cops. We have no problem going to go pull a rap sheet then. We ain't got no problem pulling up what they did on their social media, posting videos. This person did this person did that. Y'all did it with Dante Wright. You did it with the young boy who died in Chicago. Keep it a band, bro. I'm gonna hold people accountable. Don't start switching up just because the media's narrative is completely different. This is no different. This is black on black crime. Period. Point blank.
Agreed. But here's the point that we're arguing. And not arguing, but we are stating, like, we are talking about laws and freedoms and rights and to ensure that things are equal. That's all we're talking about. Race, none of the gang stuff, none of the race comes into play.
That's the difference between these two cases. You have a man that actually killed somebody. It wasn't known that it was self-defense right away. They gave the charges, and when more information came out, it changed. So that's why his bond was set that way. This dude literally shot 4 people. Nobody's dead. So that's the reason his bond is the way it is. Look at the charges that the judge gave him. Seriously, look at this case, bro. He's got aggravated assault with a weapon, with a deadly weapon. Mm-hmm. Look at how much that bond is going to be. It's not going to be the same as Kyle Rittenhouse. Why are we even comparing the two? That's whack, man.
So are you saying that the crime is negligible because of cultural elements?
They're not comparable.
I'm not sure I understand 100%. What is
they're false equivalents.
There's because there is no comparison. There is no this and these two things are similar in nature. Is that
they're not similar at all?
The only similar part of them is the guns. That's the only thing these two things have in common at all. In one, there is video of a man being chased down and having stuff thrown at him and assaulted, and he returns fire.
Two people that had deadly weapons on them as well.
Yes. And another, there was very little video outside of like that 30-second video clip, and there was, like Suni has mentioned, no one was actually killed. Yep. It was more reminiscent of potentially a gangland beef than anything, although we don't know all of the facts for sure, because even when I was reading a couple news articles right here, they're conflicting in their information. And so, we don't have all the facts. He has not actually committed a single homicide or a murder or anything, so his bond is not going to be equivalent to someone who has 2. And so therefore, at the end of the day,
the two is buying in to the black and white narrative.
What should be
is whack, bro, and I'm pissed off that I see conservatives doing it. Yeah, that shit is whack.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I didn't understand. I guess I was having a hard time understanding what the gripe was. Now that makes a little more sense to me, in that they're not. These are not. Although there are elements of crime that are similar, and that there was weapons used, right? But I didn't understand the disconnect in the two crimes. But it sounds like what you're saying to me is like, this is people dead. This is people who have been shot. And the difference in the way we're treating those crimes is proportionate to the outcome of the crime, right? And so I guess the question that comes naturally for me is, where is the dividing line amongst the culture, I guess, right? So like that's kind of, I think that's what you were talking about a little bit, or maybe I missed it. I'm not sure exactly,
Well,
but
I
it sounded
said
like
culture plays
there was
a
a
part in this because people are
okay.
immediately running to bullying. Well, he only did this because he was getting bullied. Well, this happened because
So you
somebody
feel
beat
like
his
that's the
ass.
excuse that's being
It is an
used to
excuse because
shield,
nobody wants to get. So when
to
we talk
shield the
about
culture.
exactly when we talk
Okay,
about
all right.
Yeah.
well, what people do when it comes to an unarmed or an unarmed black person getting shot by a cop, we instantly run. What's their background? What's their rap sheet look like? Did they have a mother or a father in the home? And when I called this shit out, bro, you will not imagine how many people sat in my comment section. No, that's a cop out. What?
Oh, really?
It's a cop out because this situation, but it's not a cop out when we're talking about stupid people not complying with the cops, man. Y'all are not consistent, bro.
Okay.
Let me ask
no
you, Suni.
consistency.
This is a question because I'm in
Point.
pretty much full lockstep and full agreement on this one. So part of it is and if people are asking, Kyle, that gentleman, goes on trial November 1st on charges of homicide, attempted homicide, and they're trying to block the defense from referring to the men that he shot as quote unquote looters. So here's my question: is it weird that the same side, we'll call them the left, that are protecting the shooter, in this case, Timothy Simpkins, because he was bullied, are for some odd reason looking at a different case of the kid from Kenosha and saying, although he was brandishing his firearm, was protecting others, but then shot and killed somebody? Why is it that they are looking at, is it a take away color? Is it a political party or affiliation? Is that really why they're so, because technically there is not similarities in the sense of the crime, but there is a mob of people feeling one way about one and one way about the other.
Hey, look,
I got to be honest with you. This feels like pocket aces from the political side for me. When I look at this situation, I'm saying this is political aces that they can dice this kind of 6 different ways. And that's what I meant with that original argument of it. Mitigating factors aside, everything that happens right now from this point forward is, and I'm just I'll say it, it's the progressive side to make a decision on when they play these pocket aces. So when the deck is looking stacked, they're going to throw this in there, and just like they have with every cultural movement that we've seen so far, they're going to ride it until they can't anymore. So right now, it doesn't serve them. In I think to Tuni's point, in the culture war, right? But the minute that they want to switch the narrative to come guns, well, now we're going to be having a conversation about, well, wasn't that appropriate bail money? With clearly crime here. This person was able to do it with guns, blah, 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 blah. The whole Second Amendment conversation kicks into high gear, and they've got pocket aces. That's my opinion.
100%.
Go ahead, Suni.
They played politics when it came to KR. You know what I'm talking about. The fact that he was standing up for pro-American values, and he was fighting against the people who they deemed, they've been peacefully protesting all summer. Ain't been doing nothing. It was political. Period. Mm-hmm. They jumped the gun on this, like you just said, until they found out the 2 young men were black. It makes it even worse when you watch that video and you hear them both calling out their sets, man. They're both calling out their sets. How do you spin that? Why do you think this story has completely disappeared? When's the last time you heard about it?
I'm going to show my whiteness. I'm going to show my whiteness.
4 days ago, bro.
It comes back to the fact that the media saw shooter in Texas and was like, let's get Texas again. They hate them for the abortion bans. They hate them because Abbott just banned all the private businesses from having, well, that came a little bit after, but the story remains. They hate Texas right now, so they wanted anything they could go after Texas for, and they jumped on it too soon because we have an activist media, not a journalistic media. So they're all about making sure that the DC Democrats, right, their team is always on top. So when one of their guys is on offense, they cheer them on. Go ahead, shoot those people. When their people are on defense, they get mad when the conservative side scores a couple shots. It's, it comes down to the fact that this is all tribalistic, and they will support theirs and go against, the others. And so the reason why they're trying to push this under the rug is because all it does is open up the door into, why were these boys fighting? Why did one of them think it was bad enough for them to have a gun? Is there any kind of violent history involved here? Is one of them known to being potentially a deadly threat within the neighborhood, thereby maybe leading the other one to think there may be reasons for use of violence? And what causes all of that?
Thank you.
Okay, so what's the solution to all this then, Kevin?
The solution to all of this then is to start actually acknowledging what the problems are. Being like, what happened up there in Kenosha is a direct result of people allowing violence to run rampant and the police actually doing nothing to curb the violence and allowing it to go on. What happened down in Texas is a direct result of a community and cultural failure within the area, and address them as individual instances, as you always should.
Address them as individual instances is key, right? So when we say that, and the information that was given and the information that was held, he was held to the laws that are there right now. Bail and bond can all be changed, and we discussed that. So process was followed, and nothing changed there. That's the point that I'm making, is you guys are all criticizing the circumstance, trying to take away his rights, when I'm telling you, you are also limiting your rights when you call for that.
I believe as though my rights should be limited if I pull a firearm after somebody beating me up. I believe as though if I actively shoot three people in a school setting.
You do not believe you deserve the right to due process. So you're saying
I do. That's not the definition of due process. The due process is making sure I have a fair trial, make all that stuff. This is, I am a danger to society. I'm an idiot that pulled a gun and shot people and shot three. I'm a shitty shot on top of it. I shot three innocent people, and one of my targets, because I got my ass beat or because I was bullied, it sets a precedent that's insane. Like, again, I got bullied too. To be honest, Casey, I got bullied as a kid. I got bullied by black and white, not atrociously, but I can tell you during football, I got my ass beat a couple times by the black kids in the group, and that was just life. If I ever thought in my right mind that I could go grab a gun from my locker in my car, shoot one of them, accidentally shoot three others, and I'd be afforded a $75,000 bail and I'd be able to get out the next day, I would say you're insane, because it is insane. It's
so what's logical for you? He's
logical
held
is
trial?
Them setting a bail that's high enough that probably I think you would be held to trial.
So, but that goes against legal precedent, which is that it has to be something that is within attainable. So that is the whole precept of our legal system, is that regardless of how egregious the crime is, it has to be within the attainability of that individual to seek and represent themselves. And it has, and so this is one of those process things where I think it gets really convoluted, which is, again, I think it's a great talking point for the left when they're going to inevitably use this as a gun control conversation. But when any time you go into a legal case, when you are set bail, it is set off of a few factors. One is the severity of the crime, but another one of those things is also your ability to effectively bail yourself out of jail. And those are something that they will look at from a totality standpoint. And there are certain instances in which bond doesn't apply, but most of them have to be set within a reasonable subset of attainability. That is.
So here's the deal. I think he was given the wrong,
the fair and free trial.
They gave him an attempt. What did they say? It was an assault with a deadly weapon, so it made it harder to give that. I believe as though, based on the crimes at hand, he should have been given something on the capital level, which doesn't necessarily mean murder. I'm looking up statutes right now. He should have been. It was so blatant. It wasn't like this guy may have shot people. That's not deniable. This is a 100%. He shot 4 people.
Capital
is not just murder.
No, capital means death penalty. That's what capital means. A capital crime is one that deserves a death penalty. You think this kid deserves a death penalty for this?
No. I don't.
No.
So,
Which
It's
then
time to look up the
also
definition.
falls
Yeah.
into what Jeff is saying. No bond. No, what this kid did deserves a bond. It could just be really high.
he
That's
has
what
to
I just
prove,
said.
Yeah. He
That's
No.
what I just said. It should be ridiculously high
It could be, sure.
because
But-
he is a threat. He is a threat to the people around him. The people that were he just shot are out. I don't even know how this is a conversation.
Yeah.
Like it should have been a lot more difficult for him to get out than it was. The family should have had to have taken out a damn loan, or they should have had to have. It should have been a ridiculous. This should have been more than Kamala's fucking bail fund can afford to get him out of jail. This is somebody that shot 4 people in a school, which is considered one of the most holy places. This is where parents send their children to be safe. There is no world that, in my opinion, in my very, very passionate opinion, that it should have been that easy for him to get out. And I don't understand. I honestly don't understand how we're not seeing eye to eye on that.
No, I told you I don't disagree with the bond situation. My situation is I want everybody to be held to the same standard. We already mentioned KR from Wisconsin, right? And he is being held to a different standard, even though we know 100% there was self-defense being utilized there. However, in this case, with this guy, yeah, you guys bring up solid facts. He has a history, but I will also reserve, I don't care about his history because you are going to influence your decision on this court case. You can't do that. Same thing of what we also talk about with Cash, right?
Yeah.
So we have to make sure we're being fair and we do things equally. But when it comes to this guy, 75,000, I do think that's kind of low, but that's up to your state, and that's how your state handles it. Like some other states,
I just explained the state. It's up to the judge. It's up to the situation. And again, the judge chose to be woke or whatever you want to say it, and he charged him with not attempted murder. And again, when you are trying to murder somebody, it's attempted murder until that's proved different.
Is your judge an elected official?
I don't know what level
Yes.
of. I don't know which judge it was. It depends. It depends. I don't know if this was an elected judge.
Most likely it was.
It should have been.
It's not most likely. It depends on the court, depends on the level, depends on the state, whether or not it is.
You really think this case would have gone to a
process
non-elected
trial?
judge?
Yeah, there should have been an elected judge in a process.
You would
trial.
hope. Who knows? Anyways, I think it's I think it's bullshit, Casey. I mean, I get the freedoms. I know we're all about freedoms. The guy shot the 18-year-old. That's another reason not to compare the two. One was under 18, but whatever. I do have to point out some humor here. Nancy said, "Did Camel Toe bond him out?" Why do I find this so funny? Is because earlier she was upset with us for saying the F word, but she said camel toe. So I did.
And that's probably the most derogatory thing you could say.
I do love camel toe. It's fine.
I think that
I love you, Nancy. I do love you, Nancy.
these-
Sometimes we drop the F bomb.
If I can, I think these are two instances which the only process that we're talking about that is in any way, shape, or form relatable is how the courts should handle things. And that's about as much as I can surmise is potentially a difference in treatment there.
And
so
also,
that's kind of as
also
much as I know.
Y'all need to also understand that a lot of major district courts and stuff and district attorneys will have very standardized. This is the crime. This is the bail, because that avoids any and all forms of discrimination and can prevent any and all forms of
Standard minimum.
Yeah, it minimizes all the potential for errors within the due process. So it's whatever his crimes were, they just added up what the bond totals are for those, and that was his bond. And it's the same for everyone.
And every state is different.
Yes.
They are not the same.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Moving on. That was actually very fun. I enjoyed that. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about removing condoms without people knowing. Gavin Newsom is back in action now that he got reelected or whatever, passed his whatever exam.
Ruth has been doing this for years. Felon.
Yep. Who's a felon? Wait, what's a felon? What I miss?
You're
Who's
a felon.
I'm a
Take out
felon?
the condoms?
You've been stealthy for years.
No, never. Absolutely not. Because I always used to say I got a lot of good things going for me, and a rape charge is not something I need. But in all reality, so one of the things that Gavin Newsom signed, but we don't need to talk about all of them because I think the most interesting one, because he's got the ethnic studies bill, he's got the toy stores have to have gender neutral aisles, whatever.
Jesus.
The stealthing law to me is a very difficult one. It's called the stealthing law, and it's regarding condoms, and it is now illegal for a man to remove a condom without the female knowing while the act of sex is being performed. Which
Point of inquiry: does this apply to all sex, including like
marital? Yeah.
man and man?
No, it's for
Is
women.
that considered
because,
stealthing?
I think it's just for women.
Or is
Hey,
it
can I
only
say
to
something real quick?
consequences?
Yeah. Go ahead, Stu.
Go ahead. Yeah, please
This
do.
is why we
Enlighten.
need to repeal the 19th.
God bless it. This is. I need to
I mean,
get
it's
quicker on the mute
already-
button.
Repeal 21.
There's
Repeal
more than
21.
just that, Suni.
So-
a woman wrote
He's like,
this
look,
shit,
I got the
bro.
facts right here. It's all right
Hey,
here.
look,
Repeal 19.
A woman wrote it, and on top
Why?
of that, she's suspected to be a brown or black person. Repeal the 19th. Thank you, ladies in the chat. Feel me? This is why.
You mean one?
Look, this is. I'm just. Damn, can I say
Stu's
this?
right.
Here you go. Here she is.
We're appealing to an older crowd right now, you know, and some older folks can be a little bit sensitive, but women my age that know what it is. Oh, we got 3. We know what it is. Oh, we got 4.
Damn.
Let's go.
Keeps on going.
All right. So above and beyond that, fortunately, most of Americans this day and age don't even know what the amendments are. But I would love for Suni to do a man on the street quiz in California and be like, do you think we should just be like, so Joe Biden and Kamala suggested that we should repeal the 19th Amendment. What do you think? And they'd be like, yeah, I think that's right. Anyways,
That's a good idea.
that's actually a really good idea.
We should just
all right.
to repeal the 1619 project, the 16th Amendment and the 19th Amendment.
There you go.
The repeal 1619 project. There we
Do
go.
I hear 5? All right, so here's the deal. Let's really talk about this because I think this is so intrusive based on laws. Do I think this is an absolutely egregious, stupid, asshole thing, horrific, very close to rape for a guy to do to a woman? Absolutely. I think if I found out that any of my buddies did this, or if, a girl that I know got this, there'd be some hell to pay, 100%. But my issue is, how is this provable? How do you make a law out of this?
That's going to be the difficult part. I want to say that if a woman would revoke consent if she knew he removed the condom, then him removing it without her knowledge is rape. So that if a condom is a necessary clause for the sex to occur, removing that means sex is no longer able to occur. And if you do it secretly because you want to raw dog it and you're not going to pull out because your pull out game is weaker than Joe Biden's, like if you're going to do that, it's rape because she would have revoked consent in that moment. But how do you prove this? Like, how the hell can you possibly
You can't make
prove
a law out of something that is strictly he said, she said, unless whatever they put in the V allows you to tell, like, track cameras what's going on. Unless there's something.
You're gonna have to
Don't
have a
start
consent card to go into clubs now. Show us the card that allows for your consent. Okay.
Yeah, it is literally you're making a law out of something that cannot be proven in any way, shape, or form. That means if a girl goes, you know what, I regretted hooking up with this guy, on top of it, I'm gonna say that he pulled it. And then like, do you get a specimen done the next day? Like, how do you even know that the condom was? There is no way for this to be proven.
This is 100% attack against men, and it's going to give women more ammo just to keep going after them. 100%. That's it. Because men do not have any say in those circumstances, and we usually get it used against us. And that's where I see this is just another piece of ammo added to the gun. And I don't like it. And it's all because it's he said, she said. If you can prove it, cool. This is a joke. It's a waste of
Judy,
time.
what do you think?
Hey guys, y'all better get them NDA forms printed out. Get them consent forms printed out, man. You better set microphones up in your bed and record every single session you
Shit's
have
on the
go
coffee
down.
table. I'm gonna
I'm
need
just
you to hit
saying,
that
man.
before.
I'm not opposed to it.
It's gonna be like,
I'm going to print these forms out for my son, bro. You better make this bitch sign this NDA, and she better sign a consent form.
remember when it
Sorry.
used to be taboo for a guy to
It's
record
true.
during sex? Now he's gonna be like, look, I just don't want to get
You
arrested
have to.
later.
Hey,
all right, that's
man.
all this is for.
This is now
Are you
video
putting that on your
evidence that is
story?
required
Yeah, I
by
want
law.
everybody else to know too.
This is an interesting point. Like, say if a girl's got a lot of money, her family's got a lot of money, and they know that they can push a lawsuit as long as they have to. Bam, a guy breaks up with the girl, does whatever. The last time they hooked up, she could say whatever they don't even have to have hooked up, but she could say whatever she wants. And let's also go ahead, Soon.
Can I introduce
And then Casey.
the face of this bill? All right, she's a brown person. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, man. Where is your husband? Matter of fact, where is your daddy, bro? You are too damn old to be acting like this. You gonna write a bill that nobody can prove and enforce? In this nut job? Beta? I'm gonna say he's a beta. Gavin Newsom's a beta. If this would have came across my table, I'd have been like, repeal the 19th.
So there's like
Go ahead.
three major inherent flaws here, but the hugest one that I see is how in the like we have gone from I don't really care what you do in your bedroom to I'm going to mandate and create laws about what you do in your bedroom. Now, we can all agree that Texas has some interesting laws on the books about what you can and can't do in your bedroom, how many things you can and can't have in your side drawer. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this is the only state coming out with some wacky laws that need to be absolutely looked at, but they are mandating what you can and cannot do in your bedroom. And I think this falls to that bigger point. And, I've had a hard time following along in Kevin's argument about the V being a non-consensual act. Okay. I'm starting to come along to the logic simply because these are the types of things that you can't, there is no enforceable way, save it be that you're forcing people to put this on camera. There is no enforceable way to enact this law without the complete and utter intrusion from the most sacred place that things are taking place between a man and a woman, whether that's in order to conceive or not to conceive, is
vaccine.
none of the business of any portion of any government entity whatsoever. So stealthing, although I can disagree with it morally and say that it's bad practice, we had to get hella pragmatic for a minute and realize and say, like, they're actually legislating what you can and can't do inside of a bedroom now. And it's unenforceable. And I think Casey made a really great point, which is it only falls on men. There is no repercussion for a woman. This is strictly a repercussion for a man.
Hey,
If you
know
are
what?
so stupid, you take your condom off with a random chick, maybe you deserve to have some.
What do you mean
How about-
take it off?
how-
No, this is literally pulling it out, implying sex. That's what it's meaning.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
So isn't this you pull a condom out in the
No.
act of sex?
You put it
No,
on, and then you
put it
take it
on or
off,
take
and
it
don't
off
let her
during
know.
intercourse.
Okay.
That's what he, yeah.
Okay.
So apparently
Okay.
we just learned what stealthing means in the Mormon religion.
Much like I hadn't heard of this before. The what is it? The Provo push.
The promo.
I hadn't heard of this before. I've
my
recently
God.
learned something that I had
So-
no idea.
It's not sex if we're not moving.
No, that's called plank. No, what does it call it? Soaking. It's called soaking.
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 When,
Yeah.
when
And then
you
your
just
friend
get
friend
in
looked
there,
at
you
jumps
don't
on the bed
press.
for you.
Look, yes, you have a friend. Yeah, look at that in the Urban Dictionary. Anyways, the last thing I'll say: can we use this in California to our advantage? Because technically, if somebody is putting a needle on our arm and we don't know what's in it and we don't know what it's covered by, technically that's kind of stealthing.
No, and I think this is to Casey's point, and Suni's said this a whole bunch about men's rights being absolutely at the bottom of the barrel of everything we're doing right now. I think this supports that argument to some degree.
Hey, men
just
should come
ineffectual.
back with somebody, an assemblyman in Cali, bro. all you got to do is start protecting your sperm, right? So if you're like, yo, if you decide to go raw and she's like, shoot up the school, you have every right to go say that's sexual assault, bro, because you forced me to come inside you. I couldn't help it. Protect your sperm, guys. I'm just saying. If they can protect
I swear this is
only
conservation.
to a woman that
Yeah,
does
this
that.
side is.
Hey.
So Rhonda, really quick, Rhonda, the what Eric is so there's a lot of old laws in the books. Like there's a certain level, like you can't have.
You
But
can have
these
a
are
certain number of dildos.
Right.
Like,
This is laws created a long time ago. This Newsom is creating something right now. This is the same guy that's so hypocritical that he doesn't even have his 12-year-old daughter feed, even though he's mandating it. Right?
Yes.
The guy's literally like, if you could be any worse than Cuomo, he finds a fucking way. Sorry, Nancy, I apologize.
He's getting
All right.
revenge on the people that
Protect
were
your
called
sperm,
in.
man. Sorry.
Also,
The only
the
way to
fact-
prove it, I just figured out how to prove it. You would have to find a guy stupid enough to text one of his buddies and say, "You won't believe what I did to this girl last night." That's the only way to prove it. Literally,
Or
the
find
only
a
way.
guy stupid enough? You mean like 60% of the guys that would do this in the first place?
Or
How you bring up a valid point.
just don't leave the condom. Like, take a picture and you put it on, and take a picture when you're done. Those are timestamps, and make sure you take the condom with you because in order for her to prove it, you have to have a condom with his sample in it.
What if a girl says mid thing like, "I don't like the way it feels, take it off"? That could
Record that bitch, bro.
No. Hey. This is how you're going to use capitalism at its best. You're just going to start setting up some live streams with Pornhub, and you're just going to run with it. You have it all documented every time.
Look, NDA consent forms, man. NDA consent
Look,
forms.
this just means dudes just need to go into porn, just like that way. It's
No,
always
we're not getting into the porn conversation.
Yeah.
Let's talk. Okay, moving on. We got about 10 more minutes to cover two fast topics. Southwest employees, obviously, the media has pretended as though it is a complete by chance accident. Even though I watched last night one of the union heads that literally couldn't even answer some of the questions, and you could tell when he was like, "I know I'm lying through my teeth right now." But because of the
Sexual assault, you better say rape.
Yep. Oh my God, that's
loud.
funny. Okay, Southwest employees. So here's the deal. It's called the Railway Provision Act or Railway Act. Essentially, a union in the flight world or in flights, railway, etc. They cannot create a disruption in travel. It's against one of their main rules that they have. But that's the unions, which is why this is being done under the union's quote unquote radar. I'm sure they know what's going on, but you can't continue to claim weather issues where there's no weather. And to tell you how ignorant people are on the left, sorry, I have to say it. There's somebody that I know, may work with, was saying on the upside this weekend, I'm flying Southwest. I know that we'll be fine because there's no weather in the area. They've bought it. They buy everything, hook, line, and friggin' sinker, that it literally has to do with weather. That is the level of idiocy that we deal with. Anyways, so, and last thing I'll say, and then we can quick chat about it. American Airlines and Southwest Airlines are both based in Dallas, Texas. Greg Abbott has put into place a banning of the mandates on the federal level, which therefore would mean that Southwest Airlines and American Airlines can get away with not allowing the mandates to pass because state law should supersede, which is already, this mandate isn't really a law. It's a gigantic bluff and people don't want to do paperwork and fight against the federal government. It's not enforceable. Regardless, they were afforded this option by Governor Abbott. This would have been a great thing that they could have utilized or at least given themselves some time. And what did Governor Abbott do? He did it for him, and American Airlines, Southwest Airlines rejected it. Awesome.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I hope more airlines follow suit.
well, it's going to come.
No, I don't want that. They're doing the wrong thing, Suni. They're rejecting Governor Abbott's essentially allowing them to not have to mandate, saying since you have a business based in Texas, if you have a business based in Texas, you don't have to follow this federal mandate. The state law is deeming this illegal. You can listen to me and get away with it at least for a period of time.
It doesn't matter either way. The only way any of this gets solved is with people acting together and standing up against it together. The only thing that's going to address this, it doesn't matter what Governor Abbott did, because I'm sorry, but a private business is allowed to do what a private business wishes. That's the whole argument. And so if a private business wants to mandate a vaccine, that's their right. I don't want to work for them. And if the thing is if they have employees who have enough pull within the company, such as someone that requires insane amounts of training to do a very highly skilled and technical job, like a pilot, the pilots can use their own power as the employee in this situation to get the company to stop. But that's how it's supposed to manifest, is through working together, standing together against it, and forcing the company to make that decision of their own volition based on the pushback of their employees. The government needs to stay the fuck out of all of this.
Facts.
Man.
Sorry, Nancy.
Mind your motherfucking business.
I think every time we say the F word, I'm going to say sorry, Nancy.
I'm gonna have to go talk
from
to
here
my
on.
bishop here soon.
So
The reason this is interesting to me is my father-in-law is part of a union, okay? And one of the things that they are talking about right now is how is this going to be enforceable? Because the union portion of the business has a collective bargaining agreement, and the other portion of the business would just fall under standard OSHA requirements, right? Now, here in Utah, they've already kind of signed on and said we're not going to be enforcing this from the labor side. So I don't know how that will shake out in totality here. But the question was posed, how will OSHA enforce this? To be frank, until there's a law passed, everything that's being done right now is simply not a law. It's just it's lip service to make people feel the social pressure. And I think they're banking on that social pressure being so great that people will ultimately determine that this is the only choice they have is between their livelihood and income and getting the jab. So I'll just reiterate something that I think is very potent and important to understand. These are mandates, not laws. Pushing back against them only has repercussions to the tolerance and threshold which you're willing to deal with them on a personal level. And I think it is an interesting thing that you have, to Anthony's point, you had Governor Abbott give them a solid out to say, we are just not going to buy into this horse shit anymore. We're going to go a different direction here. And they chose not to. And that's of a weird dynamic. I can't dissect it other than to say they're just very pro stance on this issue. Yeah. And so my hope would be that people would recognize that instead of making a good decision and saying we're going to allow for that personal freedom to take place, they did the exact opposite. And they said, no, we're going to take a superseding document that isn't a law, and we're going to instead institute it over state law.
I mean, federal Trump state.
Yeah, I'm reading all about this right now.
So the
well,
issue.
No, it doesn't always.
No, it does not. Federal does
well, it
not.
depends. It depends on the issue.
It does depend.
But not in this situation that we're talking about. It does not.
No, neither one of them trumps it because both of them are an unconstitutional act. So in neither case does this so proceed. The same reason Biden can't mandate a vaccine is the same reason Governor Abbott can't not mandate a vaccine, like can't unmandate a vaccine. It's the same reason. A private company has the right to dictate to the terms of employment to its employees. And if it has already existing employees, they have the right to push back and make the company question its decision so the company can make a business decision on it. In both circumstances, the government needs to get out. If Governor Abbott wants to use his own state AG to fight on behalf of Texas companies against the federal mandate, that's how he should be doing it. But to go out there and do an equally unconstitutional act in return, the whole issue at stake is what are private companies allowed to do? And private companies are allowed to do what they want within reason, which is they can set the terms.
And I'm looking at this from a perspective, and I'm reading the article about what American Airlines and Southwest. In their mind, when push comes to shove, if there is ever another full lockdown and they need government money and Biden is still in office, they want to play by his rules because that's where they are getting their money from. I read an interesting article while you guys were talking, and ultimately both suck. As Kevin just said, they are really not real things. they're really not enforceable. But if you want to play nice, again, it's all a political game. They're going to play nice. They don't give a shit about the employees. They give a shit about the fact that they're going to need that money from federal government, and that's going to be a problem. So that's kind of the way this works. Ultimately, though, if you're not watching what's going on, stand your ground. Police officers, firefighters, pilots. We've had a lot of private messages from people that are our followers saying that it's working. There was a pilot from a subsidiary of American Airlines. I don't want to get into details. Not a pilot, flight attendant. 3 people that they work with together. They had a letter. They're contractors for this airline. December 8th was the original requirement, and that has been currently lifted to in the near future. So we're getting there, but people have to, unlike the nurses and healthcare professionals in New York, that went from an 88% VED rate to a 94%. Once they said you're going to lose your job on September 27th, they got more people. They were like, you know what, let's buckle. 10% is a break number. You can't function with 10% of the people missing. And I know more is to come with travel, whether it's United, American, there are more people doing it. And we have to realize that we are stronger in numbers and together. And that's the only way for people to start dropping shit. Because as we can see, the federal government is going to keep pushing something that has mediocre efficacy and ignoring all science regarding natural immunity. So anyways, police officers.
And just like in New York, how your National Guard has become your nurse, do you really want them to become your pilot too?
Yeah.
No, you don't. You don't. Trust me, you don't.
Yeah.
And
you got this.
Facetious comment for sure.
But
yeah, no, you don't.
Pilots are insane.
Rhetorical.
You want the Air Force being your pilots, not the. You want the Air National Guard, not the National Guard. Those nasty girls don't know how to fly planes.
I'm nasty. All right, let's end the show on some humor, Suni. Chappelle special. Let's talk about that.
Shout out to Dave Chappelle, bro. Dave Chappelle is the GOAT. Dave Chappelle called out liberals like no other. Of course, I do it all the time. I feel like he just watched the show and he copied what I said.
Great. He called out everyone. He called out everyone. He called
what he
Mike
said
Pence.
Was
the Pence joke, by the way, was gold.
Yes.
Why is it that niggas can talk about killing niggas and you will promote it, make me headline a tour, put me on billboards, put me everywhere? But if I talk about HIV and people being free of HIV and not sucking other dudes off in cars, then you want to shut me up. And he's talking about the baby, and he made some valid points. Why are the LGBT alphabet soup Decepticons the protected citizens of the world, but black folks aren't? You keep saying Black Lives Matter, but you're also promoting destructive behavior that most black folks promote. Like, it doesn't make sense. Either Black Lives Matter and you care, or you don't care, and the Decepticons are more important. Shout out to Dave Chappelle. I'm glad he brought it up. People are trying to cancel him, and Netflix is actually backing him, and they literally fired a trans employee for speaking against Dave Chappelle. I was happy as hell because now they're getting a dose of their own medicine.
Yeah. I think that the truly amazing part of what Dave Chappelle did is like just the intricacies with which every single joke he was telling would counter to the narratives against it. You can't call him that he's on the conservative side because he did a lot of calling white people racist and going after Trump and all this other stuff. What he was doing throughout everything that he was doing was proving a very solid freaking point: is there's only really one community you can't make jokes about. I'm going to say horrible things. As like funny, absolutely hilarious, but they're going to be very terrible jokes, just as bad as what the trans people are thinking about everyone else. And you know what? They're not going to get mad because they can take a joke and they understand it's a joke. And he was so it is so intelligently well written. I don't know if it was his funniest based on pure laughs, but through comedic genius, through his use of language, that is one of the greatest works of art I have ever laid my eyes on, and one of the most important times for our culture. I think that what he did in that special, the way he linked everything together, and just the precision with which he nailed every single group to the wall with his jokes, specifically to point out how only one group was going to say anything about it, and it was proven true immediately. It is amazing how just what he did in that special.
Yeah.
Well, would you expect anything less from him, right? No. And I think the mob mentality thought they had an opportunity to take down the king in comedy. And he, guess what he did? And then just turned around and walked away. Just gave them the finger and turned around and walked away.
If you come for the king, you better hit the head, man.
Yeah, and he killed it.
Ahead.
No,
yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead. My bad. I was just gonna say, if people want to know what a true liberal looks like, that is Dave Chappelle.
Yeah,
his comedy is true liberal comedy, which means he believes in good in all people. He believes as though we should have an open mind. He's got a progressive philosophy on the world, and he still uses common sense. There are two genders. There are also amazing men that have become amazing women, and they're just decent people, and people are hurting across the board, and he's empathetic towards all of it. And that is one area that I have to say Dave Chappelle is, I mean, he is a master of his craft, and his storytelling abilities are second to none.
I loved it. It was so freaking good, man. His priest joke had me dying of freaking laughter.
Oh, that was good. Go ahead.
My name is Sunni Blanks, and I do not support that message. I had to close my face off. Sorry.
What on the what a true liberal is?
A classical liberal.
No,
classical.
He is what he is. I'm talking about people in the audience know why. Hey, look, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. All right. I'm not gonna say it here on camera because I don't want people. I don't want you to get flagged. But hell no.
To what part?
She's showing her black square to support Black Lives Matter.
Casey.
I don't know. I don't really know.
I'm so confused. What did I not?
Wait, throw it in the chat because now I got to understand. And
because they're quoting it in the comment section.
Oh, because I said that he said there's a man and there's a woman, and he used a line at the very end talking about the trans. He made a joke at the end about the trans
daughter.
woman. He said the daughter. He said it. He goes, at one point I'm gonna have a drink and give her the money as the daughter and say, I knew your father and he was a great woman. I think that's a very interesting point that shows we know there's a difference, but there are people that have this mentality, and your father was one of them. I thought that was a brilliant way of disagreeing, but not punching down on anybody. I thought that was brilliant.
Because like, if you listen to the wording of it, he's directly going against how they would want to describe it. You're not allowed to call her a man anymore. You're not allowed to call Daphne a man at that point. So like, it would piss off any trans person that heard him say it, because what he's saying is, what he's acknowledging with the way he puts it is, it was clearly not her true identity, but it was more of something that she wore kind of deal. But it's like it's what he's going to tell the daughter, and that's I understand that bit, but
it was partially a joke, and it was the way it was framed. I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, no, but I think that the biggest point that he made was like, yo, everybody stop treating it like it's punching down. It's something that I've always said, like, in order for you to think that you have to think you're not an equal, and I'm sorry, but I think all of us are equals. To like equals in our value to the world. Just some people choose to ignore that value or try to lift themselves above others and try to treat others differently. And people that are doing that, they're not understanding that they're still an equal. Like, they will see themselves as above you or below you and try to interact that way. It's like, no, you're still here. You're still a person. So, I'm going to treat you the way I treat everyone else.
But this kind of random shit leads to superheroes, which is our last very short topic on the show.
Superman
is now bisexual in the newest Superman of the world, or of this earth, or whatever. Superhero Jay Kent, whatever, is now in a romantic relationship with the reporter, which is not Lois Lane. It's Steven or something like that. I don't know what the name is. So this is where it goes to. And this, Sunni, go ahead and come back, because this is right up your alley.
All you hear is her giggling in the background.
I'm the one with the comic books all over my wall too back here.
I bet you're gonna have this new one. Anyways,
oh yeah,
just kidding.
I've always wanted Superman to be bisexual. I hated this Lois Lane bullshit. Are you kidding me? All she was a reporter. He needed a man in his life.
I will point out that Superman was hitting the telephone booth very frequently.
It's ridiculous. It's like they're just gonna dig themselves into such a deep hole that the comic book industry itself fails. It's fun. It's already failing. Like you're like, it's at this point. If you don't understand why it's so important for Superman to be with Lois Lane, then you don't understand any of this. Literally, the Injustice series is about when Joker tricks Superman into killing. He might. Who knows what a with what a Krypton's gone between his legs. He could have 3. We don't know. Maybe there's a reason Lois Lane loves him so much. Anyways, but like there's a whole story about the fact that when Lois Lane is killed, Superman literally goes on a tangent that almost ends up in the destruction of the world because that's how significant she is. It's the same with Spider-Man and Mary Jane. Right? Stan Lee always wrote Spider-Man to be with Mary Jane because that was a part of his character and that's a part of who the character was. And they just keep taking this stuff and just ripping it to shreds and destroying it and completely.
Like we in all of cartoons, they're creating bisexual, transgender characters. And again, I have said this over and over. I'm probably the most pro-gay one on this group. Gay marriage. Do whatever you want, but like, why do we have to virtue signal now children's comic
Anthony's
books?
got 2 beards over there, tell you what.
Anthony's been out there for a while. Yeah.
I went to art school. I work with a lot of gay people. I literally have
I
no
love the
give a
gays.
shit.
They're the best.
I don't give a
gays
shit
love
about
me.
I don't give a shit about anything having to do with gay people. I think I don't care. It's literally, it doesn't identify anybody. I don't get it. But why do we have to now make Superman bisexual? Not even gay. We're making him bisexual so he can choose what he wants to do, which is more, it's actually, bisexual is a term to me that creates more of an air of promiscuity, which again, makes no point. If you want, I just don't understand.
This is the predominant argument against the LGBTQ community, in my opinion, is that it never ends. It never ceases. They are not the group predominantly feeds off of the continuation of rights for people who they claim are marginalized. Well, where does that end? At this point, we've gotten so far deep into this conversation that now Superman can't have a straight kid because it's non-conforming to normal societal standards at this point. The argument I would make is if you go back to 2008, we don't have any of these similar arguments in TV shows, conversations in cartoons. I'm not saying that gay people shouldn't have rights. I'm saying simply that it has permeated our culture in such a way that it's a given inch and they've taken 500 miles at this point. I disagree that there needs to be some sort of gay representation of Superman. There needs to be, in my opinion, less of this permeation of every cultural aspect, and instead it should be proportionate to the group of people by number who are dealing with this in a cultural way. I don't care if a character is inherently built into a storyline that is of maturity age that makes sense. I'm not going to complain about that one. But when I start to see this permeate the culture of young children, where now you can't, like in California, for example, where you can't have a boys and girls section of toys inside of a store, we no longer live in a culture and society that allows and tolerates for different people. We've been now washed into a culture that only allows for you to accept the deviation from the norm. I'm not okay with it.
This is a direct result of writer rooms that are built off the idea of diversity over competence. That's all this is. It's a direct result of just people like the new young writers that are coming in are all graduating from really woke institutions and they're getting wokeified and they don't have the competence to actually come up with good original stories because you know what? You what I do care about is when a character that I fell in love with was for certain reasons is completely and totally and utterly ripped apart and destroyed. You know what I don't care about? When you write a good original story about a group of people that are historically marginalized or don't have any kind of representation that is original to them and is something that is actually good for them, rather than having to be stolen or taken from another property, right? They just can't write their own good stories, so they have to take everything that came before them and warp it into their image, because they don't care about any kind of, putting out a good story. They care about a message, and as long as the message is getting out, that's the only thing that matters. Because fuck, who the hell knows how to write a good story in college anymore? Absolutely nobody.
Sorry,
but if you put transgenders in your story, hey, you know what? At least it's going to be talked about on Reddit and stuff.
So here's a question for Suni, because we were talking about Chappelle obviously earlier. They went straight to having Superman dating a gay guy. They skipped right over the crowd that is consistently being punched down on, according to Dave Chappelle. We never once had one of the Supermans dating like a Tanisha Lane or like a black chick who's a reporter. Why couldn't we bridge the gap? We immediately went to the much more underserved population, or much more less demographically reached situation, and skipped him ever dating a black woman. I would be okay with Superman dating a black reporter. I think that would be progress.
Lois Lane can be black. There's no problem with that.
Okay, then Lois.
That's what it comes down to. Lois Lane can be black.
I know.
That's the part of the story they don't appreciate, because they don't give a flying frick about what is actually important about characters. They don't care about the archetypes that Superman's portraying, how he's portraying the man with the power of the god that wants to actually live like a man and seeks to do what is right and just because it is what's right and just. They don't care about what Superman is actually representing in his stories. They just know that Superman is popular, so it's a really great way to get their message out there.
Suni, do you want to wrap this conversation up?
Hey, I have to be honest. I'm really sick of seeing homosexuals in everything that I watch. Yeah, I'm just being honest. I'm tired of watching shows where two men are kissing. Tired of watching shows where two women decide to scissor. It's annoying that I can't sit down and watch TV with my children without all this stuff being in ads, being in TV. Leave us alone. Create your own channel where you can have all that weird shit over there. And we're allowed to say that as straight people. And if people don't like it, kick rocks, drink bleach, go play in traffic. I don't really care. I just think it is very intrusive. And we're talking about human rights. I should have rights to say, I don't want to see this shit. I don't want my kids to see it. But you can't say that, because if you said you're homophobe, but no, I just don't want to see it. And I don't think it's fair. Just like Kevin said, create your own stuff, bro. Quit coming for stuff that's been in society forever and trying to revamp it, rework it to push your message. Go get your own stuff, man. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's virtue signaling. Fair.
And people are afraid to say that. But me personally, I am over it. I am so sick of seeing this stuff on TV. I don't even watch TV anymore. You know why? Because I know I'm going to see some gay shit in there. I can't even enjoy TV, bro. That's all I got to say on it. I don't look. Do what you want to do at your bedroom, in your bedroom, bro. I don't really give a shit, man. I don't care. You put it on that TV, you're forcing everybody to say this is okay, and that is not fair.
Fair enough. I just look at it this way. Look, there shouldn't really be anything kind of sexual in a time when a child's going to be watching TV, especially on TV channels.
Exactly, man.
And there is something to be said for the fact, it's virtue signaling at its finest. Because in the recent James Bond movie, there's a throwaway line where M mentions his boyfriend, and you want to know what country that's probably cut out in? China, Pakistan, Iran.
It's cut out here in Japan.
Yeah, Japan. Yeah, so it's like it's all virtue signaling. It's not, and it's pandering in the extreme because it's always the reason why you get so sick of it, because every time it occurs, it is thrown out there right into your face because they want to be able to say, look, we have gay people making out. This is wonderful. And you know what? Like, all you're doing is virtue signaling and pandering. Like, we have black entertainment television. We have Hallmark for the white suburban women. You know, there are channels that like where people go to for more targeted viewing. And it's like, I think there is a gay.
This is no different than, what is it called? It's a piece of legislation that was supposed to help women and black people in the workforce.
19th Amendment.
No. You know what I'm talking. Affirmative action.
Yeah,
this is affirmative action. Okay. This is just on steroids. And I think more heterosexual people need to verbalize that this is not okay. It doesn't mean you hate a gay person. Doesn't mean you hate a trans. It means I don't want to see this on my TV. And if I'm paying for this shit and I'm paying for my electricity and I'm paying for Netflix, you better figure it out. And if you're not going to conform, not even conform, if you're not going to listen to what people are saying, stop giving them your money. That is the best thing you can do as a person. Cancel Netflix. I canceled Amazon. I can't tell you how many transgender commercials are on there. And my kids are like, Mom, what is that? How do you explain that to your kids? It's like nobody is even caring about the fact that we have to explain this nonsense to our children. How do you explain that to a child?
Sex is just so easy to sell stuff with that they use it in everything now. Everything became sexualized, and it's like the problem is just that everything is so overly sexualized, and then they're always trying to push new agendas, and it's like what we have is a degenerating society that is we need to reestablish like why it is that conservatives don't appreciate not just gay people, but like having explicitly sexual stuff in regular television and stuff like that. It's you know, there's it's not just the fact that and people can have their own opinions on the gay side of things, and in all honesty, I just don't watch stuff that has it in it because I just don't care about it, and I'm never going to show my kids that kind of stuff. Like if it doesn't matter to me, but at the end of the day, what it comes down to is there's so much virtue signaling that's associated with it, and it's if you do not agree, you are therefore a horrible, terrible, evil person, and that's what needs to fucking stop. And that just makes things worse. That just makes things even freaking worse.
Yeah. So we're gonna wrap up the show. A lot of you guys made some comments about Stu Peters in there. I know Stu. I think it'd be great to get him on a show. Next time you see him going live on Facebook before he goes off platform, just give him a shout saying, you know, when you see him, just say, hey, you got to come on Truth Will Set You Free or get on Be The Change with Russo. He knows who I am. But if he gets a little push from his audience, I bet he would be super down for that. So it'd be great to have Stu on a show. I think that'd be awesome. So put some comments in there. Any final words by anybody? Or should we, since we were 30 minutes more than my goal, should we just wrap it up?
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
Like
Pun
literally
intended.
and figuratively. And make sure you get them NDAs and them consent forms, man.
If you're going to war, wear a helmet, man.
I think we're learning a little bit about Kevin's current dating life.
Oh, man.
Repeal the 19th.
Keep your rain jackets on.
Oh God, that was a risque show, ladies and gents.
Risk. Hey.
I think
We
we
should
should
probably-
probably After Dark.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
After Dark. If anybody still is
After
watching, it's forgot to tell you. Remember, Awake Not Woke for the clothing line, or just go to #BetheChange.com, and then also podcast. If you want to listen to the whole show back, #BetheChange.com/podcast. You'll see them all up there. They're always up within a couple days of the show. Thank you guys for hanging out. There it is. Awake.woke.myshopify.com. Wake up is the code. And we're going to talk about Kevin not even needing to wear a condom because he doesn't get any action anyway. So have a good night.
He still has a hand.
It's a choice. Yeah,
Pamela.
that's
You can't
I
spell
use
Conan,
Rosie
can you?
Palm and her
Is that
5
against the rules?
sisters, man.
Oh, did you just hear that?
What?
Do you know, that's a good joke. Do you know what people on the left jerk off with? Pamela.